Alright, so let's go over this series once again. You know, there's been a lot of stuff that I talked about over the past couple of weeks that I just decided to put this series on a hold. But yes, I decided to put this here on a hold mainly because I got sick, and then not only that, the test server came out. And then after the test server came out, then I started checking up a little bit on the content on how to, you know, trying out new stuff. So this series has been on a hold for a little while now. So I decided, you know what, let's just go back and just continue with this series and continue with the 40k PR project. And yeah, so here we are. Like always, make sure to leave a like since it does help out with the YouTube's algorithm and tells YouTube, hey, this guy is doing a good job, and he actually recommends it to everyone that is watching the similar content. And also subscribe. We're on a road to 4.3k subscribers, so let's see if we can hit that. The next 40k PR video will be on the Dracolite. After the Dracolite video, just let me know which character would you like to see in the comment section down below, and I'm going to be picking the class that I see the most. Of course, these are going to be the list of the missing classes that I haven't done a 40k PR video. And so with all that being said, let's get started with the 40k PR video on the Neon Ninja. Welcome to the 40k PR project. In today's video, I'll be going over my Neon Ninja. My Neon Ninja is going to be currently sitting at 40,660 power rank, and here's going to be my set, and you can pause the video if you want. My gear consists of a base Crystal 04, full pearl, no stars, all of them have attack speed and movement speed on every single piece of gear. Maximum health is going to be on both my hat and my face, and Magic Find is going to be on my weapon. The reason movement speed is because, come on, it's the Neon Ninja. Same with attack speed. It's the Neon Ninja. You should be using movement speed and attack speed on this class all the time, no matter what. Like, this class' biggest strength is the high movement speed, and this class only uses basic attack and shuriken. So, it helps out having high movement speed, it helps out having a high attack speed. And especially with attack speed, now that the basic attack got buffed, I would say this is going to be a must on the Neon Ninja. Although, you can use energy regen on weapon if you want, since Neon Ninja does get attack speed on level up, so you can sacrifice a little bit of attack speed for energy regen if you don't have energy regen on something like Ring. But yeah, speaking of, the other stat is going to be maximum health on hat and face on the Neon Ninja, because survivability is complete dog water on this class, so you need anything that you can get to help that one out. And Magic Find on weapon because drops. Now for the ring, Crystal level 3 energy regeneration ring with no hidden effects. If you want every single information in regards to the hidden effects, I'll leave that in the description down below. Now, my reasoning of not using any hidden effects is going to be, number one, I'm lazy. But like, seriously, the only good option is going to be Clone Jutsu, and Clone Jutsu doesn't help out too much with the Neon Ninja's problems inside U11, which is mainly going to be one-shot before you crucify me in the comment section down below going like, oh yes, no, Neon Ninja can actually one-shot very easily. And you know, you get the whole story. I'll get more into that in a little bit once I actually start going over the different sections, like, you know, my final thoughts on the characters later down in this video. But yes, one of the problems that I feel with the Neon Ninja is going to be one-shot. Clone Jutsu can help that one out with burst, but it really is not going to help out with the actual big problems on this class. But yeah, definitely Clone Jutsu could be really good for Curse Goals, but it doesn't really fix any glaring issues. That aside, I have energy regeneration because it's obvious the Neon Ninja is something that you should be using energy regen as much as possible with, not only from the weapon or ring, or both with stuff like Cell's Emblem. You need as much energy with the Neon Ninja, considering the Shadow Flare takes a lot of energy and has no cooldown. And yeah, so that should be everything regarding my equipment. And now let's move on to the rapid fire section, which is going to be all of the stuff that I pretty much just use in every class. Ready? Let's go. Animated Jug because of movement speed as my ally. Banner is permanent torch because I will be swapping this with every single class. Free range electrolytic crystal as my food because easy 300 light. Martial, Trailblazing as my emblem, Martial because of damage, Trailblazing because of movement speed, standard speed farming emblem. Honestly, this combination resulted in me the more consistency, which is weird because I've been using Neon Ninja with Celeste Emblems for so many years now. But after using it with Celeste Emblem, Martial and Trailblazing, it's been much more consistent using Trailblazing than using Celeste Emblem. And yes, speaking of Martial, it should be extremely obvious for you to pick out Martial Emblem if you're using the Neon Ninja in U11. Don't skip out on this ability, it's a lot of damage. It's your free damage button, and the Neon Ninja, once again, Neon Ninja struggles a little bit more on one shot. So get as much damage as you can. And I know it feels weird because Neon Ninja was always used as a class that didn't need Martial Emblem, but once U11 came out with Sunrise, that was GG for the endgame Neon Ninja because you can no longer one-shot without Martial. So always use that emblem. Conjurer's 𝗘𝗃𝗿𝘆 is my vial of choice because 12.8k Magic Fan should be pretty obvious on why. Personal Sun Bar subclass because of movement speed is honestly the best option. Neon Ninja is all about movement speed, but again, you can use Solarian subclass if you need more damage, and it does help out with more burst and maybe with the potential of more one-shot, but I will say Neon Ninja is better with more movement speed. But yeah, you can pick whichever you want. Also nice subclass if you are more Flask. And yeah, that's going to be my gear. Now my costume combination, which is going to be Hastel. I do have the Krabenet eye stock from the Krabenet costume, which is a costume from the Sunfest 2022 store pack, the House of 𝗘𝘃𝗀𝗀 pool party. The costume is going to be the Celestial Courier. I really don't know how to actually even pronounce that. Yeah, it's actually pronounced Courier, by the way. Which is going to be from the store pack Fantastical Phalanx, from the bonus store pack that was originally added in September of 2021. That wasn't part of any event, was just randomly added into the game. And the weapon is going to be the Radiant Hero Blade, which you would think is a Radiant style weapon, but nope. This is a Bolt style weapon, which means it's only gotten from style stashes. Anyways, that's just going to be my costume combination. Now let's move on to my gems. Like always, I will be scrolling over all of my gems, starting with Water, Air, Fire, lastly Cosmic, and going with the Empower Gem ability in that specific order. Starting off with the first ability, which is going to be Heuristic Hackstar with the Class Gem ability. Obviously, why is it even here? The Neon Ninja without the Class Gem shouldn't even be allowed. Always use this class with the Class Gem. Ability number 2 is going to be Paradise. I'll say this once, I'll say this every single time. Paradise is the best Empower Gem ability out there. It gives you, movement speed, does damage, and it's very easy to proc, and it does help out greatly in speed farming in general. Always use this ability. Ability number 3 is going to be Mire Mojo, and obviously I have this because of stat. And yeah, just pick whichever Empower Gem ability you feel that you need at the moment. If you need burst damage, go Explosive Epilogue. If you don't want to be sent back to the spawn, go Cubic Curtain. And if you want more range on your Shuriken for some reason, then you can just use Volt and Velocity. It really doesn't matter as much as long as you do have Paradise and Class Gem, and also the next ability, which is going to be ability number 4, Vampire and Vanquisher. Survivability and movement speed. It benefits the Neon Ninja's biggest strength, movement speed, and it also helps out with one of the biggest weaknesses on this class, survivability. Always use it on this class, and that's going to be everything on the Neon Ninja. Now, onto some final thoughts. Where to start? I know, is the Neon Ninja really that bad in U11? The quick answer is going to be no. It's not a bad class. However, it's nowhere near the best class for endgame dungeons. Let me explain. I find this class to be in a very interesting position, or a tough position to be in, since this class is going to be better for the newer player than it was before, but it's definitely much worse for the endgame player, which was not the case before, where the class was pretty bad in the early game and really good in the end game. Now it's going to be the complete opposite. It's actually pretty decent in the early game, pretty horrible in the end game. Let me explain why. The biggest strengths on the Neon Ninja was consistently high movement speed and being able to one-shot with shurikens, which was obviously made the class both extremely fast and being able to complete dungeons really quickly, which both of them are very important in speed farming dungeons and obviously speed farming in general. With a 50% no cooldown movement speed buff in Shadow Flip and the very high damage multiplier on the maxed out shuriken, made the class more of the ideal speed farming class if used correctly. Of course, it has its inconsistency since it used to rely 100% on the shurikens, and the class was quite weak in all of the other ability in terms of damage output. But now, in Uber 11, while the movement speed is still there and still very ridiculous, the shuriken only one-shots at endgame stats with martial active against geo-top side bosses, which not only makes it extremely inconsistent in terms of kill time with the shuriken, it also makes the class feel very clunky if you use it the same way as you used before. Remember, the class was originally used without martial emblems, so you can throw down shuriken at any time with full charges. Now you have to activate martial emblem, then shadow flip, then throw a shuriken, since you cannot use the flask while you're in stealth mode because it will deactivate your stealth mode. So you cannot backflip flask and then shuriken, because whenever you do a backflip, you use a flask, you will deactivate your stealth mode and then you have to do another backflip. So it makes the class just feel extremely inconsistent in a lot of cases when using the class in the same way as before. Keep in mind that the shuriken is also not the fastest ability out there either, so you really need to kill with that first shuriken to make the ability feel consistent and to be able to move fast. Just like this, what you're seeing right now on screen, this is Uber 10 Neon Ninja, and as you can tell, it feels much better. Granted, yes, I am over 40,000 power and doing Uber 10, but this was even possible before the Sunrise update and after they got the nerf in the Shadowy Spotlight. So this was still possible before Sunrise. Even still, like, you can actually still see that the character still has all the tools to make it really good in terms of dungeon grinding. But the problem is, you cannot do that in Uber 11 because you don't one-shot. You don't one-shot with that shuriken, and it just doesn't flow as good as, you know, running around with Uber 10. So still, this class in Uber 10 is extremely good. Don't get it twisted. It's really good. But for something like Uber 11, you need to be using Martial Emblem, which makes the class a little bit more clunky to use. Which is really unfortunate with this class because it got the short end of the stick when it came out with Uber 11, since this class got nerfed quite heavily in the Shadowy Spotlight update, which obviously when the Shadowy Spotlight update came out, the Neon Ninja got nerfed, and it wasn't that big of a deal back then because it generally didn't affect the Neon Ninja's playstyle, because on Shadowy Spotlight came out before Sunrise, so it was in between Shadowy Spotlight and Sunrise. Even though the Neon Ninja got nerfed, the Neon Ninja was still just as effective, so pretty much no one was complaining in regards to that one. But now with Uber 11 came out, the nerf is just extremely apparent right here. To put a TLDR on what was the nerf was a critical damage reduction to the Neon Ninja. To put it more into a perspective, the Neon Ninja maxed out shuriken received a total damage nerf of around 47.5%. So yeah, in other words, you are doing currently right now slightly more than half the damage as you used to before the Shadowy Spotlight update, which is an insane drop off. Pretty much essentially just doing half your damage as you used to before with stronger enemies. You can quickly see where all of the problems comes into play, and it feels like you can easily tell how much this class feels in terms of like Uber 11. Really, it doesn't affect in Uber 10, but in Uber 11 you really feel those nerfs just coming into play, which just that's why in my eyes it makes the Neon Ninja pretty bad for an end game dungeon grinding class. Can you still be effective? Yes, sure, most definitely. If you still have enough stats, you can be effective with any class, but it's still not the same monster of a class that it used to be before because of this specific nerf. Fortunately, the Neon Ninja not only got nerfed, but it also got buffed in the other aspect. It got buffed in every single ability. So it was completely different to what it used to be before. It used to be like the shuriken was just extremely powerful, but all of the other abilities are just weak. Now all of the other abilities, the basic attack and the stasis blade and the final technique, all of the abilities now are a little bit stronger. But what I will be highlighting is going to be the basic attack. The basic attack received quite a big buff, now dealing a staggering 2.85 times damage from 1 times damage, so it now does almost 3 times the amount of damage as it used to before, which is again a huge increase. And seeing that this basic attack still has all of the good property, it still has 2 attacks per second basic attack, it still has really good crowd control, And overall, it's still a really solid basic attack in terms of properties. Aside from all of that, it is now a pretty like above average in terms of damage output. And that's why this is a character that I will say is more of a basic type class. Similar to the Knight, 𝗘𝗃𝗿𝘆, and something like Revenant, Dino Tamer, all of that. Classes that, you know, you are going to be using basic attack for the most part to dish out damage. And just use other abilities as a complement rather than just using the other abilities as your main damaging ability. So the Neon Ninja obviously, of course, is going to be basic attack. That's why in my eyes, this class is just better for a newer player, because newer players really doesn't have the highest stats, so you cannot rely on 100% on critical hit. And you don't have to rely on having high stat because you already have a good basic attack that is just reliant and is fast and it does pretty good damage. When I was leveling up this class after Shadowy Spotlight on my PC account, it felt really good just to level it up. So I can assure you, like, for a newer player, this class is going to feel much better and much easier to use. However, if you're an endgame Neon Ninja, then you're going to definitely see all of those nerfs just coming into play. So what I would recommend anyone to do is just focus more on basic attack rather than just focusing on just using your shuriken all the time. Use your shuriken only to dish out some extra damage. So similar to what it used to be before, focus on basic attack and then throw down the shuriken, and don't expect the shuriken to kill enemies one shot. Just throw down the shuriken just as a complement damage to just finish up enemies, or just to dish out incredible burst damage towards the beginning. So throw down the shuriken and just hit with basic, and all of them will come out and just dish out damage all at the same time, which will help out in killing bosses much quickly. And yeah, that's probably the reason why I will say this class again is not that bad. But obviously, of course, you can quickly see that it doesn't have all of the same strengths as it used to be before. Obviously, with more updates and more stats, this character is going to go back to his former glory, because the playstyle and all of the abilities still are almost exactly the same thing. You can still use this character for Uber 10 and flux farming, and this character will still be among the best characters in the entire game for flux farming. But as of right now, it is a good dungeon grinding class, but no longer the #1 class for endgame dungeons in the game. And that's it. And of course, these are going to be my opinions on the class, but let me know what do you think on the class in the comment section down below. Also, let me know which class would you like to see in the next video after the Draco video. I will pick the one that I see the most. With all that being said, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching as always. Make sure to leave a like because it does help out the channel grow. And also subscribe. We're on a road to 4.3k subs. And once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care and keep on hunting.